Butter is one of the most used ingredients in most cultures' dishes because of its delicious taste and ability to be used in many recipes. It is applied in cooking and baking and can also be consumed as a spread, like margarine, on bread, toast, or any other baked product. But have you ever thought about how this popular everyday dairy product is produced? And stay till the end, because at the end there will be the homemade butter tip. Therefore, let's start butter's journey. The history of butter dates back thousands of years. It's believed that butter was first made around 10,000 years ago, soon after humans began domesticating animals such as cows, sheep, and goats. Early butter was likely made from the milk of these animals by shaking or agitating the milk until the fats separated from the liquid. Ancient civilizations, including the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Romans, used butter as a food and in religious ceremonies. In many cultures, butter was considered a valuable food source and was often used as a form of currency or as a religious offering. In the Middle Ages, butter became more common in European diets, especially in northern regions where dairy farming was prevalent. During this time, butter was often used as a cooking fat and was also spread on bread. Butter is still a popular food worldwide, used for cooking, baking, and spreading. It comes in numerous varieties, including salted, unsalted, and clarified butter, and is prized for its rich flavor and creamy texture, because butter is derived from cream, which is responsible for the thick, fatty layer that rises to the surface of fresh milk after several hours of standing. This is the primary component of butter, and it contains the fat content that gives butter its smooth and creamy texture. The butter itself is made from cow's milk that is found in almost every dairy farm. These cows are the backbone of the operation, furnishing us with the excellent quality of milk, which is vital to produce good butter. When making butter, the process begins by filtering out the milk and leaving only the cream behind. This can be done naturally, as in the case of raw milk, having the cream rise to the top, or by using a mechanical separator to make the process faster. It is also possible to separate the seeds from the husks using a mechanical separator. But this can also be time-consuming and less effective, as the natural method of separating the seeds from the husks can also yield good results. Cream is the primary component of butter, containing a high-fat content that gives it a creamy texture. Once it gets the cream, it must be of the best quality standards, as a way of making sure that its end products meet the desired quality. Then it is required to observe the temperature for the cream and its acidity level to confirm if it is in the right condition for churning. Step 2. Churning. Now, it is time to churn the cream, ladies. It is a tough job, but somebody has to do it. Churning is the method of stirring the cream, and this brings together the fat globules so that they form a separate layer. This is perhaps done with the use of the common butter churner or the contemporary electric mixers. Churning the butter by hand is an enjoyable process and very rewarding at the same time. But one can also use a modern electric mixer. During churning, the cream rises and solidifies into butter, and the liquid left is buttermilk. The churning process also requires some time and the right temperature that is required to make the butter. When the cream is churned for long or at the wrong temperature, it leads to a grainy or off-flavored butter. Make sure that you are able to get the right texture and taste of the churning by strictly following the right process of churning. Step 3. Draining buttermilk. Another important step that follows the churning is the creation, a separation between butter and buttermilk. The buttermilk is then separated from the butter. The butter case or butter solids are left behind. The buttermilk that is drained off is not discarded though, but rather used in other recipes or even in feeding stocks. It can also be used in different recipes, for instance in baking and in making of healthy drinks such as smoothies. Buttermilk is a rich source of protein and calcium. Besides, it has a sour taste that accentuates the flavors of most foods. Step 4. Washing and kneading. The butter is washed to get rid of the residual buttermilk, which slows the spoilage process of the butter. It is also whipped up to make it have better texture. This is also to ensure that the ingredients are well combined. Another step during the process is washing and kneading the butter. And this is because washing helps to eliminate any impurities, and the kneading ensures that the butter is uniformly textured. Dissolve butter in cold water to ensure that it does not turn soft or become greasy or oily during the washing process. Step 5. Salting. Part of it is salted with the view of adding flavor to it, as well as to preserve it for a long time. In this recipe, the amount of salt used will depend on the individual's preference. Add a high-quality sea salt in the butter because it enhances the taste of the cream, while still being different from the usual salt. The salt also contributes to the preservation of the butter, and so it is an ideal product for those who wish to preserve the butter for a long time. Step 6. Shaping and packaging. Last but not least, the butter is molded or formed into blocks or other shapes, depending on the intended packaging, and it is then covered or sealed for either storage or commercialization. Then take as much pride in how your butter looks when put inside packages with attractive and informative labels. Noun: the butter is packed using individual sticks and blocks, and this allows customers to make the right purchase depending on their requirements. So, viewers, as I said to you earlier about some tips for making homemade butter, here are some. A butter prepared at home. However, you do not have to purchase butter from a shop, a supermarket, or a grocery store in order to obtain it. Handmade butter can be made at home with the help of a stand mixer or blender, and it can be served over handmade bread after it has been prepared. When heavy cream is whipped at room temperature, it turns into butter and buttermilk as it evaporates. In addition to being a very interesting activity, it does not even require a great deal of effort. All that is required is a small number of ingredients. However, the flavor of the sauce may be altered to suit your preferences by using a variety of spices and herbs, and this can be done based on the type of mushroom that you are using. On the other hand, when trying to churn butter at home, there are a few things that one has to take into consideration. At the outset, it is strongly suggested that you make use of the cream that has the maximum fat content, and, if at all feasible, is of a professional grade. The reason for this is that the procedure will separate the fat from the milk solids and water, which will ultimately result in butter that is of higher quality and has a creamier texture. In addition, you have the option of infusing a variety of flavorings into your butter, such as garlic, herbs, or even particular spices. It is possible that this will cause your butter to move in a different direction, and it may be perfect for a particular kind of food. We hope you enjoyed learning about the entire process and feel inspired to try making your own butter at home. Remember, with just a few simple ingredients and a bit of time, you can create a product that's not only tasty, but also tailored to your preferences, with your favorite herbs, spices, or even a touch of garlic. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more food and cooking videos. See you next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to enjoy a little taste of our hard work. Delicious.